I have a lot of questions about the dungeon island in general. Like, if it was made 1,000 years before the debacle with Darkstalker, how did the Skywings forget they had animus dragons? Because the Icewings said that they had the only ones, but clearly the Skywings had some, so did the Icewings forget? Did they not know? Were they not included in this prison island thing? How did they forget about an entire prison island? How did the other tribes forget about two entire tribes who used to share the continent with them? If the Icewings and Nightwings remember Darkstalker 2,000 years later, how do they forget something as insane as sending two entire tribes to jail forever? And let's talk about those two tribes, because I have so many questions. For one, it's really interesting that Leafwings come from Pyria originally. At first I was like, oh neat, they only have two wings, so they're kind of the weirdos on Pantala, but that would make sense if they're originally from somewhere else entirely. But then I realized the Beetlewings were there too, and I think they're the Silkwing ancestors who eventually become the Hivewing ancestors because they have silk and stuff. So that doesn't make sense. So then, I guess there's no dragon tribes that are native to Pantala? Which would kind of make sense, honestly, because if I'm remembering correctly, in an Arc 3 flashback, we found out that when dragons got to the continent, it was completely consumed by the breath of evil. So I guess there were never any dragons there in the first place? I don't know. So then, if those tribes come from Pyria, can they have animus dragons? I don't know, have we seen a Pantalan animus anywhere? I'm genuinely asking, I can't remember. But I don't think we have? Anyways, if they sent the entire Leafwing and Beetlewing tribes to the Dungeon Isle, how did some escape and get to Pantala? Had some already migrated there? If so, why not the other tribes? How did word of the other continent get back to Pyria? Because remember, Clearsight knew about the other continent via old stories, so someone had to return and spread the word on it sometime in that 1,000 years? Also, back to the actual Dungeon Island. What the heck, guys? They sent two entire tribes and changed to prison? And they knew it was wrong. They discussed how in a few generations there would be 100% innocent and uninvolved dragons there. It was coded into the system. Category 1 is family of prisoners. They knew exactly what they were doing. The whole concept is just fascinating. I love the history and lore drops, and having a story so baked into the history and the sins of the past is exactly my jam. Not to mention, untangling how the island was enchanted and why was insane. I genuinely was so invested and had so much fun figuring out that mystery alongside Umber. That is what I would call a good application of animus magic. I didn't think it existed, but turns out it just needed to be the backbone of a mystery prison story.